everyone, welcome back to another Honeybee Stamps card making process. I'm going to be creating this card for you today using some really pretty products from the Perfect Match collection. I'm going to be using the 3D embossing folder from this collection that's called Aces. It's just a really wonderful 3D embossing folder that creates just this really gorgeous pattern here that you can see on this piece of white cardstock. I'm also going to be using the gorgeous red rubber Royal Flush stamp set. This is a really great set that includes all of these different red rubber stamps. These stamp beautifully, and it was just really fun to work with this and the coordinating die set today to create my project. Now, I just love how all of the different dies here are going to cut out every one of those different images in that stamp set. And I was thinking about using the Be Playful Lowercase alpha set. I didn't end up getting to it, but that is a really great alpha set that's brand new in the Honeybee shop. Now, I did stamp out all of my images here on some watercolor paper, and I just used Canson watercolor paper for my project today. I used some waterproof ink, and I am going to do a little bit of really simple watercoloring for my card today. Now, I am going to be using this watercolor pencil from Ranger and Tim Holtz. This one is Lumberjack Plaid, but these watercolor pencils come in a huge number of different colors from the Distress line, and they're really easy to use, and I just love working with them. So I've got a wet watercolor brush here, and I'm just going over to the actual pencil, and I'm just rubbing my or dabbing my bristles of my brush against the end of the pencil there just to pick up some of the pigment. And then I'm just going into the image and then just coloring in the image in that way. So you can get lights and darks here very easily by simply adding more or less water. So the more water that you have in your brush, the lighter the color is going to be, and vice versa. So I'm just going to continue to color this poker chip here. And I wanted just kind of a combination of white and red for this specific poker chip. But you'll see as I go through here, I do end up switching up and adding a little bit of pink to my poker chips as I go through the coloring process. But I'm just going to continue here with my Lumberjack Plaid. And I think that this is actually the only color of watercolor pencil that I use for this project. But like I said earlier, this type of medium does come in a full range of colors, and I just love working with them. I've had a lot of fun with this product on all kinds of different projects in my studio, including obviously watercoloring in the traditional sense, like you can see me doing here today with this poker chip. So I'm just going to finish up coloring that little edge. Now I did want to just leave a spot for some white, like I said. And so you can see that I have varied the white and red for that part. And then for these other ones here, you can see that I've added a little bit of pink to the tops of the poker chips as well, just to vary the color just slightly, just a little bit. And just coloring in the hearts on these cards here. Of course, this is a Royal Flush, and that is pretty lucky. I don't know if you've ever played poker or cards before, but it's pretty rare to get a Royal Flush. So anyways, the sentiment that's going to go onto this card is fairly appropriate for the imagery that is going to be on the card as well. So just coloring in the little dots on the dice or the hearts, and that is going to finish up the coloring for that piece there. So I'm just going to set these aside and let them dry for a little bit once I'm finished. I did want to color in these single cards though as well too. I actually don't end up using them on this project, but I thought since I had these already stamped out that I might as well get these watercolored also for a project later. So here you can just see that I'm adding a darker amount of pigment over on the left side, and then I'm just blending it out into a lighter shade to the right. And I'll do the same thing with this second card as well. I love that Honeybee gives you lots of different imagery options with that Royal Flush set, so that really your imagination is the only limit to what you can do with those different images. Now I am going to take some Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxide ink here and go ahead and just use that to add some ink and some color to my beautiful embossed background here. This is going to be the base for my card front. And I just thought that I would try to create a little bit of a darker at the top and sort of an ombre getting lighter down towards the bottom. Now there's that Sentiment Lucky You from the Royal Flush stamp set. I have stamped that out again in black ink, and I'll use the coordinating die to go ahead and die cut that out. I'll just take that through my die cutting machine and get just a really great sentiment for the top of my project. So I just want to make sure that I get that taped into place properly and get a really nice, well-balanced die cut piece there. Now I am going to also use my Scallop A2 frames dies. This is one of my most used die sets from Honeybee, and I've used one of the smaller frames from that set to create the focal point for my card here. I added a little bit of foam adhesive onto the back of that scallop frame and added that onto my card front. And now I'm taking the die cut ace and I'm popping that up to overlay over top of the other ace of hearts. And that's going to give me a little bit of dimension, but it's also going to give me a little tucking spot. So I'm going to take some of the other die cut pieces that I watercolored, so these little poker chips, and I'm going to add them in behind a couple of these, or this ace here, just to add another little bit of detail to the project. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a trim so that it will fit in behind there. And now that I've got those all adhered together, I'm going to start to think about how I want to design the rest of the project. So I'm going to put that Lucky You up at the top, and then I'm going to balance that off with some of the dice and the poker chips in behind. And so at this point, I'm just kind of trying to see where I want everything to go. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to start to stick things down. So I'll get my Royal Flush down there at the bottom, and then I'm going to pop up my sentiment with a little bit of foam adhesive and get that placed down as well up at the top of my A2 scallop frame there. And you can just see that embossing folder has given me a nice frame in pink around that white scallop border, which I love. And now I'm going to just go ahead and glue down some of these little die cut bits. I'm just going to go ahead and add those in, and this is looking pretty good. I did want to add just a little bit of extra pizzazz to the project here. So I'm going to just take a little bit of glossy accents and add that to some different little areas. I'm going to add that to the hearts on the cards. And I'll also add that to some of the areas at the top, the hearts on the poker chips, maybe some of the dice will get some as well. And add that down, and then I'll just take some chunky glitter. Any type of glitter would work for this, and I'll just add that over top of the glossy accents to add that little bit of sparkle and shine. And this type of thing is just what really gives your card that little bit of extra zhuzh, so that it just looks just a little bit extra. Now I've added just a tiny little bit of ribbon to finish off my project. Friends, I have linked up in the description box below to all of the different products I've used today. I hope you enjoyed my process, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.